Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian. I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Canada. And this is the first live class of this week. It is a speaking part 1 class, which will focus on the topic of communication, which is a good topic for a speaking class. Welcome Parvin. Hi Preeti. Jawahar, Nimish, good to see many students in the class already. Of course, today is March 9th. This is an all chat class, so everybody is welcome to join this chat. Welcome Arda. Hi Saeed, welcome to our members who are joining in. Welcome Carolina, our chat moderator. I hope everybody is having a fantastic start to their week. Students, this lesson is brought to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS, visit us there. For the general IELTS, it's gieltshelp.com. On both of those websites, we've got tons of materials for you to improve your next IELTS score. The websites, they look like this. This is our academic IELTS website here. Just click this big red button to join our premium package. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. Welcome me. Hi Cass. Hi Umra. Nice to see more of our members joining in as well. This is our general IELTS at gieltshelp.com. Again, you just click this big red button right there. When you do, you can fill out this form. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access, and you get tons and tons of help for all sections of the IELTS. We will actually use our academic IELTS website today to practice our speaking. On the websites, you can talk to other professionals and students to practice your speaking. So that's ready there for you. All right, students. So if you want to get the apps that link with the websites, there they are. The apps: Academic IELTS Help, General IELTS Help. Get those from your app stores, and you can also follow us on Instagram right there. IELTS_AEHelp, GIELTS Help, to get our schedules, free vocabulary, and lots more help. So join us and begin learning for success. All right, students. So if you have questions, Adrian at aehelp.com, that's me. I can get back to you within a short time. And today's schedule, we'll have speaking part 1 right now. Tomorrow we'll have a couple of reading classes. Then we'll have task 1 writing. We'll have more speaking, and we'll have a Q&A session this week as well. So lots of classes this week, lots of learning. And now let's get to speaking part 1. So speaking part 1, you have to answer, explain, give an example, just to give a lot of you kind of an overview of the speaking. The speaking interview takes about 12 minutes. It has 3 parts. The first part is some introductions and some questions on a general topic like hobbies, sports, languages. There are lots and lots of different topics they can choose from for part 1, so don't try to guess it. The trick is to know the right kind of strategy and right kind of communication skills. So let's just start by repeating these questions for today's IELTS speaking part 1. Okay, so here we go. What is your full name? May I see your passport? What do you do in your spare time? Who do you spend your free time with? Let's talk about communication. Who do you text with the most? How how do you usually communicate with your friends? Are you a talkative person? When is it difficult for you to talk to others? Have the way people communicated these days changed compared to a generation before? If you could improve communication technology, what might you do? All right, students, now just a couple of important notes about the speaking as we get into our practice. One important point about the IELTS exam and about the speaking as well that you should know is that IELTS is an English proficiency exam. It is not an ESL exam. So IELTS is or I should say an English proficiency exam, which means how good are you at English? Regardless of if you are native speaker, non-native speaker, or bilingual. Maybe you speak both English and another language, right? So it doesn't matter for the IELTS which category you fall into. IELTS is an English proficiency exam, meaning how good are you at it, okay? IELTS is not, and I'll tell you why in a moment, why I'm emphasizing this for you. So IELTS is not an ESL exam. So your examiners are not like your ESL teachers. Okay? What do you think I mean by that? Like, especially when it comes to speaking. So let me ask you a question here. I'll be asking you lots of questions for speaking part 1 here. But what does that mean? So for the speaking section, this means, what do you think it means? So when I say that IELTS is an English proficiency exam, it's just like, let's say like an English exam in grade 12 here in Canada in high school, or your first year English literature exam in college, kind of the same idea. So it's not an ESL exam. So how do you think that affects your speaking section? What's the impact of this very important point that I'm telling you here? So Carolina says good communication is key. Yeah, exactly. So that's a very good point, Carolina. So good communication skills are just as important as English skills. Yeah, meaning vocabulary or grammar. So if you really want to get those high band scores like band 7, 8, 9, you need good communication skills, not just good English skills. Absolutely. Okay. Arta says fluency. Saeed says natural language. Yeah, so we can say natural speed is key. Now, this doesn't mean you have to speak really fast. Just within the natural range. And importantly, the examiner will do the same. Okay, so unlike your ESL teacher, the examiners will ask you these questions at a very natural speed. So they're going to be, you know, like, what's your full name? May I see your passport? What do you do in your spare time? why or who do you spend your spare time with or your free time with? So they're going to be very natural with their speed, and you can't ask them to slow down. You can't be like, I'm sorry, could you slow down a bit, please? They'll be like, I'm sorry, no, this is a English proficiency exam. It's no. Comprehension is important. They won't be able to paraphrase either. So examiners do not slow down their speed, nor do they paraphrase. At most, they may repeat a question. If they choose, they don't have to. Okay, so they can choose not to do so. They can just go to the next question. All right. Okay, so keep those all in mind. Cass, it's definitely not a casual conversation. Okay, this is not a casual conversation. It is a professional interview, like a job interview or a graduate school interview. Okay, just because the questions may seem friendly does not mean that they are your friend, okay? So really pay attention and really practice, okay? All right. So again, professional interview. So here are some tips, okay, to help you with this. All right. Tip number 1 is use the question in your answer to reflect the exact subject, okay? Give clear explanations and examples, and then wait for the next question. Okay, don't just keep speaking. All right, it's super important. Again, all right. Do not use low quality words or communication, like using the words things, something, you, stuff. And also be careful of superlatives. Like always, never, the best. Okay. All right. In good communication, we want to be truthful. We want to be precise. All right. So you must strive to be precise. And that's not superlatives. So, if you say like, I never eat candy. Oh, really? Never? It's hard to believe, but maybe you're the rare person out there who never eats a single chocolate bar or jube or anything, right? You could say I very rarely or very seldomly ever eat a candy, only when I'm traveling and I eat one of those delicious little chocolates that are left in the hotel room. Something like that, right? So you want to be precise, all right? And these words will not lead you to precision. So you have to really focus on your communication. Amrit, welcome. I love how you are always so attentive to a super chat donation. That's super nice of you. Okay. All right. So keep this in mind, all right? You're going for good communication skills. That's the key. That's what you're practicing. So you're not just practicing English, but you're practicing good communication skills. And those are the two branches of improving your overall IELTS score. So on one branch, your communication skills. On the other branch, your English vocabulary and grammar. And when you put those two together, that's when you get into those really high band scores, okay? So to get into the Band 8 and 9 category for IELTS, you must show both good communication combined with good English. Okay, meaning vocabulary and grammar. All right, so let's practice this, okay? Let's warm up a little bit here. So you get to your IELTS speaking exam, you show up early, you practice with some other candidates who are also waiting for their exam. You build your confidence, you go up and you say, hey Jane, are you here for the IELTS? You probably wouldn't know their name, but you would say, hi, are you here for the IELTS exam? And they might say, yes, I am. Okay, would you mind practicing a few questions with me? I brought some questions with me just to kind of warm up and build some confidence. And I'm sure the person will say, yeah, sure, that's a good idea. Or they might say, no, I'm really nervous. I just want to focus on my own and do my own practice. Then you can say, sure, no problem. Go ask somebody else, right? However, if somebody says yes, and I'm sure somebody will, then that's great. And then you can ask some questions from them, and they can ask some questions from you, and you build your confidence. And then eventually, 20 minutes before your speaking interview, you go and register for your test. You have to show your ID. They will take your picture. Any digital device like your phone, watch, they will ask you to leave in a bag in a secure room. And then 20 minutes later, in that 20 minutes, go have a drink of water, go to the washroom, and keep talking English and keep asking questions from other people. And then you go to your exam, and now you're feeling really confident, comfortable, relaxed. Maybe you did a bit of breathing technique. And you remember all these key points, like speaking in full sentences, clearly and accurately, not over-speaking, okay? And then the examiner will greet you, and the examiner will say, please take your seat. You can say thank you if they say that. Okay, so please take your seat. Thank you. And then they will begin. So they will ask you a question. They will start with either what is your full name or may I see your passport. Let's start with what is your full name. So here, the examiner asks you, what is your full name? Immediately start with a complete sentence. Okay? Kuak, don't be shy to the point where you don't ask for help from someone. That's not good. You have to get past that, okay? All right, Amra Abashov says, my first name is Amra and my family name is Abashov. Please just call me by my first name. Perfect, Amra. So very nice. That's a great start. It's fluent. It's to the point. I like it, Amra. Say it nice and fluently, right? So my first name is Amra and my family name is Abasov. Please just call me by my first name. And you don't have to repeat Amra because you already said that. Okay, I know it's your first name. All right. Rohit says, my given name is Rohit Varma and my family name is Uppalapati. Please call me Rohit for short. Okay, Rohit, there's a couple of oddities here. So there's a couple of points to help you correct this a bit, okay? So here, it seems like Rohit and Varma are two names, okay? So I would say that what you want to say here is my given names are, okay, Rohit and Varma. And then here we would take a very short pause and say, and my family name is Uppalapati. Please call me Rohit. Not for short. It sounds like that is actually your name, okay? So it's not a short version of your name. Your name is Rohit. Sounds like you have three names. Your middle name is Varma, right? Make sure that's clear because otherwise the examiner will get confused right away, and you do not want the examiner to be confused with your name. That does not put you in a good place for a high band score. Okay, so be very careful, students. Make sure that you are accurate, especially for these first few questions, okay? All right, So again, repeat after me, Rohit, especially, but everybody. My given names are Rohit and Varma, and my family name is Upalapati. Please call me Rohit. Okay, Rohit. May I see your passport? Again, show fluency for this question. You don't need to talk for a minute to show your passport, but you should definitely show some fluency and be natural, be yourself. I might say something like, sure, just a sec. I need to dig it out of my pocket. Here it is. Please take a look. Obviously, after I've taken it out of my pocket. I don't know about you, but I often get especially the passport, it gets really kind of stuck in your pocket. So if I don't have my passport in my hand and ready to go, if I've put it into my pocket before going into the room, which I probably would, I wouldn't walk around for 20 minutes with the passport in my hand. I have heard of students losing their passport between their registration and going into the interview room. So, leaving it in the washroom or somewhere. So I generally would probably put it into my front pocket. I don't recommend putting it into your back pocket, front pocket if you've got one. So I would probably have to kind of just dig it out, especially if I'm already sitting down. But I would say, sure, just a second. And probably I'd be a little bit more professional and polite, so I would say just a second. Sure, just a second. I need to dig it out of my pocket. Here it is. Please take a look. Okay, so you can copy that. All right. Mr. Talk says, well, there are different ways. Be natural, be yourself, be original. Yes, of course, here's my passport, which I have registered with. Please have a look. That also works well. It's nice and fluent, yeah. So don't just say sure, okay? Saying sure is it's just short and awkward, all right? Okay, I see some other good responses there as well. Yeah, sure, there's my passport that I've used for registration on this IELTS exam a couple of weeks ago. That works as well. Okay. All right. Okay. So then we come up with another question here, and this is a very common question for an icebreaker. So here at this point, the examiner will say, okay, for part one, I will ask you a couple of questions to get to know you better and some questions on a general topic. What do you do in your spare time? Okay. And again, be ready for this type of question. If somebody asks you, what are your hobbies? What do you do in your free time? If you are a band 5 or higher, you should be able to answer this question with a high degree of precision naturally, because you must have heard this at least 24 times over the course of your English studies. Okay. All right. So give me some nice full sentence answers for this one. Amra says, well, in my leisure time, I go swimming because it is a very good way for me to relax and reduce stress after a long week. Today, before going to this exam, I went swimming for an hour to relieve stress. Yeah. I think, Amra, that's a great answer with an explanation. I would probably change this word to coming to this exam. It's a little bit more accurate than going to this exam. You want to speak in first person here. So otherwise, it's good, Amra. I like how you answer, give an explanation, and then include that example. Okay? So that's fantastic. That's what you want to do for those higher band scores, and then wait, right? Don't overdo it. You've got lots of questions coming. So one more time, repeat after me, students. What do you do in your spare time? Well, in my leisure time, I go swimming because it is a very good way for me to relax and reduce stress after a long week. Today, before coming to this exam, I went swimming for an hour to relieve stress. Okay, good, very nice. All right. Let's see. Kuuk says, and I'm just copying this right out of this chat. Well, I have a lot of hobbies since I'm interested in quite a few fields, but in my spare time I tend to play computer games, listen to music, or take a long walk in the nature if possible. Okay, so this answer is okay. As far as communication, this is closer to a band 6 than a 9. The IELTS examiner isn't really interested to hear, well, I have a lot of hobbies since I'm interested in a few fields. So I would actually start this answer here. Okay, Kawak? So in my spare time, I tend to play computer games, listen to music, or take a long walk in nature if possible. It really depends on my mood and energy levels. Okay. And then you could say this morning I was feeling energetic, so I went for a 2K walk or stroll to get some fresh air and clear my mind for this exam. All right, so that would be a little bit better. The IELTS examiners aren't really interested in hearing, well, I have lots and lots of hobbies. Okay. Be careful, students, with the word but. Okay, often that's misused in English. So you're not showing contrast here. Okay, you're not showing contrast here. This is a definition of your many hobbies. It's not a contrast to your many hobbies. So you need to be careful with that word but. Okay. So again, the better answer here is, in my spare time, I tend to play computer games, listen to music, or take a long walk in nature if possible. It depends on my mood and energy levels. This morning, I was feeling energetic, so I went for a 2K stroll to get some fresh air and clear my mind before coming to this exam. Okay? And it's not the nature, it's just simply nature. Okay? All right. So then they might ask you another question, and then they will get into the speaking questions. Now, let's do these speaking questions together. So I am going to call some volunteers today, as we usually do in these speaking classes. And hopefully we'll get some volunteers to answer some of these part 1 questions. So to volunteer, everybody, what you need to do is you need to register a free or a paid account at aehelp.com. That's the website we're going to use for now. Then you want to log into your My Student account and click on Student Partner Speaking. Okay, these are the steps here. Make sure that you enable and test your microphone. Okay, so make sure that it's working for you. And then in the chat, you'll see a handle called Master. That's how you get a hold of me. So when you ping Master, you can get a hold of me and then write, I want to volunteer, or message me, I want to volunteer. And then I'll randomly choose volunteers to answer some questions. Okay, so let me show you what I mean by this exactly. Okay, so here's the website, aehelp.com. Again, it's worth getting the premium IELTS package. You really will be happy with all the practice that you get. So click that big red Join Now button for that. Or if you want to try it for free and use the speaking for free, then click the Try Demo button. And then you'll have this My Student account that's up at the top there, at the very, very top. Okay, so you log into your My Student account, and then you'll have the student partner speaking right there. Yeah, right there. Okay, you click on Student Partner Speaking, click I accept, meaning you're going to be polite and respectful and you're responsible for your communication. And then you're ready to go. Now, you can see already that we've got lots of people in here. We've got Arda, Onisi, Meme, Elionei, Saeed, Arun. And then once you're in here, we got a couple of Tinas spelled differently. Then you can ping me, and I think it's Saeed here that's pinging me first. So let's catch Saeed. Saeed was ready to go. Okay, Saeed, are you ready? And once you're ready, I will message you back, so just to make sure we can connect. And once you do that, like Saeed just did, I can ask a question.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Saeed. How are you?
I'm doing great so far. How are you doing, sir?
Very well. Thank you for asking, Saeed. All right, Saeed, any special plans for the week?
Well, not really, just preparing for the IELTS test. Nothing special. How about you, sir?
Um, Let me think. No, me neither. Nothing really. It's going to be a usual week for me, I think. How is, or when is your IELTS exam? I want to ask.
It's in 1st of April. Yeah, 5th of April.
5th of April.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I was going to say on the 1st of April. Do you know what day April 1st is in Western culture?
Day. Fool's Day.
Yeah, it's called April's Fool's Day. Yeah, it would be a kind of an awkward day for an IELTS exam, for sure. So, good. How are you so familiar with Western culture? Have you lived in a Western country?
Not really, because even in my culture, the 1st of April is considered as a Fool's Day. So
Oh, okay. All right. Said, where are you? Can you remind me?
I'm from Uzbekistan.
Uzbekistan. And you have April's Fool's Day in Uzbekistan.
Yeah, sure, we have.
Okay, interesting. I would not have guessed that. I would have guessed that was like an American Canadian
Only
thing.
Western country, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would have guessed. But anyway, I wonder why. I wonder why people need that day. But anyway, all right. So let's get into part one. Okay, so here we go. The topic of part one today is communication. So let's talk about communication. Who do you text with the most?
Well, I usually spend a lot of hours chatting with my sister. Since she has moved to the USA a couple of years back, we only communicate through messaging apps like Instagram. I had a little conversation with her about 10 minutes ago, asking how her day was going.
Okay, very good. I caught most of that. I'm going to make up some of it, I think. Okay. Okay, good. All right, so that was pretty good. I would give that a solid band 8 to band 8.5 even. You can ensure... So Bandaid and a band 9 are very, very close to each other. We actually made a video about that, which is quite controversial because we're comparing a Ukrainian.
Yeah, I've seen that video.
Russian. Yeah, exactly. But our goal isn't to compare Ukraine and Russia; it's to compare Bandaid to a band 9. And because they're both Slavic speakers, as you are, and with Uzbek, of course, it makes sense to have that comparison. So Bandaid and a band 9 are very, very similar, and you really have to put in an extra effort to show that you're a band 9, so that there's no question in the examiner's mind that, okay, that's a band 9. I have no question about it. That's why band 9 is so difficult to get, because you have to like go above and beyond almost perfect. Like you have to just be really on top of it. Let me show you, like I would give you a band 8 to 8.5. You might have an examiner that might even give you a band 9 for this, and you might have an examiner that might be as strict as a 7.5 and 8. Okay, let me show you what you could do, Saeed, to get that band 9, like where it's like, okay, that's a definite band 9. Okay, so you said, well, I usually spend a lot of hours chatting with my sister. Chatting is kind of more talking, so I would definitely use a more accurate word here, like messaging.
Messaging, yeah.
with my sister. And then you said since she moved to the USA a couple of years back, we usually chat through software like Instagram, okay? And this is where I would put in a quantitative piece of information. So as soon as you hear this most or often or any kind of context that's asking for frequency, okay, I would put in a number. Like I would estimate that I send her at least an average of 3 to 4 messages a day. Or texts, if I've already said messages. And that will really increase the chance that, okay, the examiner will say, that's a 9. It was just such a clear answer, okay? And then here at the end, you had this example. You said, I had a conversation with her yesterday about how things are going. Whenever you catch yourself saying things, replace it with a better word. What could be a better word than things in this context?
Day, maybe.
Yeah, or
how her
life,
day was
right?
going.
Yeah, how her day was going, how her life was going, how her studies are going. So any
Actually,
of those
I said a
words are
day.
better. What's that?
Actually, I said a day, not things.
Oh, really? Okay, maybe that was me then. All right, my bad. All right, I had a conversation with her yesterday about how her day is going. Okay, then it's good. Okay. And so the examiners, and that brings up an important point, Saeed. The examiners are very good at their job, but they're not perfect either. So they might not catch every little detail, especially when you're speaking very well. And that's why you want to speak exceptionally well, because they need to be convinced that, oh, okay, there's no question this person is just very good at communicating, right? So, okay, so here we go. Let me repeat this. Copy me after I'm done, okay? So who do you text with the most? Well, I usually spend a lot of hours messaging with my sister. Since she moved to the USA a couple of years back, we usually chat through software like Instagram. I would estimate that I send her at least an average of 3 to 4 texts a day. I had a conversation with her yesterday about how our day's going. Okay, who do you text with the most?
Well, I usually spend a lot of hours messaging with my sister. Since she moved to the USA a couple of years back, we usually chat through software like Instagram. I would estimate that I send her at least an average of 3 to 4 texts a day. I had a conversation with her yesterday about how her day was going.
Very nice. So that would be a no question 9, what you just said there. So that would be like, okay, that's no question, that's a 9. All right. So you're on the right track, Saeed. I think you have a chance to get a really nice high mark in your speaking. Don't stress too much about it. Just be yourself, and really just focus on clear communication. Include numbers. So think numbers. Okay, numbers, right? All right. Okay, Saeed, thank you so much for being the first volunteer today. And I'm glad that your exam is not on April Fool's Day. I hope nobody else has exams on that day. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, sir. Have a good one.
Okay, thanks. Bye. All right, that was Saeed. Give Saeed a thumbs up. Okay. All right. So let's take somebody else now. Let's see who else is volunteering, and I hope that that was clear for everybody. So differences between a band, I would say even from a band 7.5 going up, are very slight, very subtle. You really have to put in an extra effort, even if you have good vocabulary and good English, to make sure that you get as high a band score as possible. And it definitely takes practice. Okay. All right, DN Joker's asking, shouldn't it be how her day was going? Yeah, so DN Joker, that's the type of mistake that would not matter, because I asked her is past tense. How her day is going is a direct quote of my own speaking. So that's why it's how her day is going instead of how her day was going. It's the difference between direct and indirect quote. And in speech, we sometimes directly quote ourselves. I wonder if everybody caught that. So DN was asking, why did you say how her day is going instead of how her day was going? Because it was a direct quote instead of an indirect quote. Okay. All right. So that kind of a grammar difference will not impact your score. All right. So let's take somebody else. Let's see if Onisi is ready. Onisi says, I'm ready. Okay. Are you ready? If Onisi is ready, I will reach out to Onisi. Let's see. So I'm always messaging you first, volunteers, just to make sure you're still with me. Okay, here we go. So Onisi says yes. Hi, Onisi.
Hello, sir.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing fine.
That's great, and I can hear you
How are
very
you?
nicely. I'm doing well. I'm guessing you have a microphone kind of like me, right?
Yes, yeah.
Right.
I try to upgrade this time.
Very nice. I can always tell because it sounds like the person's inside my head, which is great. So,
Okay.
all right. Onisi, may I ask, where are you?
I am from Algeria, like I said last time.
Algeria. Try to remember. It's a lot of
Yes.
volunteers and stuff.
Yes.
And
No.
why are you taking the IELTS exam?
I am taking the IELTS exam so I can apply to a scholarship in China.
Wow. Okay. What do you plan to study in China?
I plan to study electronics, to be specific, and instrumentation,
Okay.
PhD.
Wow. All right,
I hope.
doctor. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, let me ask you a question and then I will give you a bit of feedback on your English and communication. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. So we're still talking about communicating. How do you usually communicate with your friends?
I usually communicate with my friends through a phone call. It is the most efficient way to get to take a grab on them. So I call them whenever I need them. Just like yesterday, I needed them in when I was when my car went down. So I need someone to lift me up from the road. From the side of the road, I mean.
Okay. All right. So that would be a band 6.5. And I'll explain why. So your fluency is like a band 7.5. Your lexical resource there would be, I think, like a 6. Grammatical range and accuracy 6, pronunciation 8. So overall, you'd get about a 6.5 for that one answer. You have some good ideas. You have good structure. So you said answer, explanation, example. I like how you did that. You used some words a bit awkwardly. My tip to you is speak a little bit slower and be a little bit more careful with your word choice. Okay, so I usually communicate with my friends. Instead of communicate, you could use another word, or you could use even an idiom. Do you know an idiom that could work really well here?
I usually keep in touch.
Yeah, very good. Exactly. So I usually keep in touch would be a great way to paraphrase here. I usually keep in touch with my friends through phone call. It is the most efficient way to grab them. We don't say grab them. That's awkward. So it is the most efficient way for me to get a hold of them.
Yes,
Okay.
I went for that.
Yeah, it's so you use some words that I could figure out what you meant, but they weren't the exact right phrases. So that's what you want to be careful about. That's why you want to be either a little bit slower and more accurate, or use simpler expressions, okay? But if you misuse words, then that will pull your score down. Okay, so careful. And then just like yesterday, I called on them as, again, a bit awkward. So I called a friend for assistance. My car broke down. Okay. My car broke down. So I needed someone to pick me up, not lift me up, but pick me up. Okay.
Yes.
To pick me up. Lift me up literally means like I lift you up into the air. So I would like grab you and lift you,
Okay.
take you to my car. Kind of puts a smile on my face, but close. Again, it was close, just not the right word.
Yes.
So pick me up from the side of the road. Okay, so
Yes.
now it's much better. And I would even paraphrase the beginning here. So most often. Okay. So let me
Okay.
repeat this, copy it, and then really pay attention to word choice in the future. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
All right, here we go. So how do you usually communicate with your friends? Most often, I keep in touch with my friends through a phone call. It is the most efficient way for me to get a hold of them. Just like yesterday, I called a friend for assistance. My car broke down, so I needed someone to pick me up from the side of the road. Okay. All right.
Okay.
How do you usually communicate with your friends?
Most often, I keep in touch with my friends through the phone call. It is the most efficient way for me to get a hold on them. Just like yesterday, I called my friend for assistance. My car broke down, so I needed someone to pick me up from the side of the road.
Much better. Okay. Get a hold of them, not on them. Hold of. You hold of someone.
Hold of them.
Yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one. Okay, Onisim, really pay attention to that. So lots of practice, lots of feedback, right? When you're doing your speaking practice, make sure to record and then listen back and check where these kind of, because you're close, you're so close, but you need the right word to sound
Yes. Yes.
clear, okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you for volunteering. I appreciate that. I hope you have an awesome rest of your day in Algeria.
Yes. Thank you for your effort too.
You're most welcome. Bye for now.
Bye.
All right, so thumbs up. That was great. Okay, yeah, close is good, but you want to be accurate, students. Accuracy becomes extremely important for those higher band scores. Okay. All right. Mia's here. Let's see how Mia's doing. Okay, Mi, are you ready? Let's try to get a hold of me. And Basanti, I see your response in the chat. Try not to answer by saying it depends on the situation. Okay, try to be affirmative. It's a bit better. All right. So don't use the it depends. Okay. All right. Here we go. Hi, Mi. Sorry, hi, Mi. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good as well. I just lost my voice there for a second. I'm not sure why. I hope that doesn't happen again. Excuse me. All right. Okay, Mi. So how was your day, I should say, in Vietnam today?
Yeah, it was pretty good actually. Just like a normal day, but it was good.
Okay, one of those happier days. Those are good days to have. Weather was good, gentle breeze. All right. Okay. So, Mi, I will ask you a question here from speaking part 1. Give me a nice full sentence answer, okay?
Okay.
All right. Are you a talkative person? Why or why not?
Well, I consider myself a talkative person because I think communication is an effective way to express myself, and and by communication, everyone can know what I'm thinking. Just like yesterday, I have a debate with my friends that if genetically modified food is good or bad.
Okay. Very good. With my friends, whether or not genetically modified foods are good or bad?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. That's a hot topic for discussion. See that apple you're eating over there? It's looking a little bit too perfect. Are you sure it's good for you? I think it's been modified. Okay, I've had that conversation with some friends before, so I can sympathize with you, and it's good. Using an example where your examiner, the listener, can sympathize or empathize with you, it's absolutely good. And I think a lot of us have had intense conversation about genetically modified foods. Okay, so here we go. Are you a talkative person? And you said, well, I consider myself a talkative person. What's another way to say talkative person? Me. What do you think?
I don't.
There's a couple other ways to say that. And I bet you know it. So as soon as I say it, you'll be like, oh yes, of course. Okay.
I can talk.
One of the words I'm thinking of starts with an S. S-O are the first two letters.
S-O.
Mm-hmm. So when somebody likes to go out, talk to other people.
Social.
There you go. See, I told you knew. You just have to dig it up, right? You'd be surprised how much is in our brain. So I consider myself a social person. Yeah. So that would be one way. Or another way that you could have said it is chatty.
Mm-hmm.
A chatty person. That's maybe a little bit trickier to think of, but social person, I think a lot of people might know. Okay, so well, I consider myself a social person because I think communication, when you're talking to a person, what kind of communication is that, to be more specific?
Talking.
There's a better word. It starts with a V.
V.
Mm-hmm. V-E-R. There's actually two different words that you could use here. One starts with a
Verbal.
V. Yeah, that's right. See? All that English.
Communication.
Yeah, see all that English it's hiding inside of your brain. It's like, oh, I'm hiding from you, me. Come catch me. So yeah, you have to really kind of work to bring up that English and use that English, right? But that's what teachers like me are here for. So I consider myself a social person because I think verbal communication. Now, just with those two words, you're increasing your band score by at least one band. So you're moving from like a band 7 to a band 8 because you're much more specific and you're much more coherent. Okay, so well, I consider myself a social person because I think verbal communication is an effective way to express myself quickly. And by such communication, everyone can know what I'm thinking right away. Just yesterday, I had a conversation with my friends whether or not genetically modified foods are good or bad while grocery shopping. Let's add that in there because it kind of gives a clearer picture. Maybe you're in the store, you're buying some apples with your friends, and you guys are like, hey, don't buy that one, buy the organic one. That one looks too perfect. So a couple of slight corrections, but important corrections. Do you see why those are important corrections, Me?
Yes. Makes my answer more detailed.
More precise, right? And that's what I'm
And
emphasizing today. Yeah, is just having that precision in the communication, right? So when you're practicing at home, again, the same idea, record your conversations, record your speaking practice, whether you're doing it with a friend or in class, and then consider like, what words could I use? And see, a lot of these words are in your head, they're in there, and it's the same for others as well. They're in there, you just have to really kind of think of like, okay, what kind of communication? What's another way to say this? How could I paraphrase this? You keep thinking that, and then you'll come up with better and better ways, okay?
Okay.
All right, so let me do a little bit of repetition here. So are you a talkative person? Well, I consider myself a social person because I think verbal communication is an effective way to express myself quickly. And by such communication, everyone can know what I'm thinking right away. Just yesterday, I had a conversation with my friends whether or not genetically modified foods are good or bad while grocery shopping. And that lasted for like an hour, okay? Showing that I'm really chatty. And that lasted for an hour. Okay. All right. Are you a talkative person?
Well, I consider myself a chatty person because I think verbal communication is an effective way to express myself quickly. And by such communication, everyone can know what I'm thinking right away. Just like yesterday, I had a conversation with my friends whether or not genetically modified foods are good or bad while grocery shopping, and that lasted for an hour.
Nice. And I can tell me that you're really working hard on your pronunciation and your intonation as well. And it's definitely getting better and better. So keep doing what you're doing, okay?
Yeah, thank you, sir.
All right, that was awesome. And very clever for you to use the word chatty to pick that up into your vocabulary. Very good. Okay, Me, have an awesome rest of your day.
Okay, thank you, sir. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All
Bye.
right. That was Me. Me regularly comes back to practice and improve, which is awesome. Sadaf, Naved, yeah, absolutely you can join. Jabo here, all you have to do is go to aehelp.com, sign up, click on Student Partner Speaking, and you can, oh, there you are. I can actually see you, I think. Jabo here. Let me see if I can reach out to you here. Okay. All right. Are you ready? Okay, we want to take a volunteer from our general IELTS English channel as well. Thank you for the applauses there, students. Javok here, okay. Applauses there, students.
Hi, sir.
Hi, make sure to mute YouTube so we're not getting feedback. Pauses there.
Hi, sir.
Yeah.
Hi, sir.
Just mute YouTube. YouTube so we're not getting feedback.
Okay.
All right.
How are you doing, sir?
Much better. First question, how do I pronounce your name? Javokir? Javokir?
Jawakir.
Javokir.
If it's hard, you can just call me John.
No, Javokir is okay. I just wasn't sure about that first sound of the J. Okay, Javokir. Perfect. So, yeah, you figured out how to volunteer. That's awesome. Okay, so I will ask you a question about communication. Are you ready?
Of course.
Perfect. Okay. So, when is it difficult for you to talk to others?
So, I would say my character is a sociable person. I really love to hang out with my friends, but it's hard to communicate with others when you have no mood, like when you have some troubles in your life, or of course, it's hard to get in touch with strange people for me. So,
Stop there. Yeah, it's okay. Okay, let me give you some feedback. So that was about a solid 6.5. There were a couple oddities. Let me show those to you and we can fix those and you'll improve your speaking very fast.
of course, with the example, it was.
Yeah.
It will be much better.
No, it was good. It was, I mean, that wasn't the bigger mistake. I'll show you what your bigger mistake is. So, so I said, when is it difficult for you to talk to others? And you said, well, I would say my character is a sociable person. I like to hang out with my friends. So you actually start answering opposite to the question. So I'm not asking you about, you know, you being social or talkative or when it's easy for you, but I'm asking when it's tough for you. And at the beginning, I get it. You're telling me that because I think you're indirectly trying to tell me that it's usually easy for you to talk to others. It's not difficult. Okay. But that's not really what I'm asking you. So in the IELTS, you want to just really directly answer. Okay. And then you switched to the second person voice. You said, but it's hard for you to speak to others when you're not in the mood. It was something similar to this. Now you're talking about me, when it's hard for me to speak with others. And then you switched back to yourself. You said, when it's tough for me to talk when I talk with strange people. Okay. So there's quite a bit of confusion in the information there. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
So you want to be more direct and clear, especially with your point of view and your nouns. Okay. So let me fix this. Let me just write the better approach. Okay. So answer directly instead of saying I'm a sociable person. Just answer directly. It's difficult or challenging for me to chat with others when I'm in a bad mood.
Yes.
Okay. If, for instance, I lost my keys and I'm having a bad day, I just don't like to socialize with my friends. Okay. Also,
We can delete that part. Yes, with to get in touch with strange people.
no, you can say also I'm a bit shy when I meet a stranger for the first time.
Yeah. Yes.
As you may feel this in the interview. Okay. So you're in the IELTS interview, you're meeting the stranger, the examiner, right? So you might say something like that, right?
Shaking my boots.
Yeah, you could. A lot of people are. So, okay, so let's try it this way. But the key point here, okay, is be direct. Be direct. So answer the question directly.
For instance.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
So
here we go. Let me say it, and then once I'm done, you can repeat. Okay. So here we go. When is it difficult for you to talk to others? It's challenging for me to chat with others when I'm in a bad mood. If, for instance, I lost my keys and I'm having a bad day, I just don't like to socialize with my friends. Also, I'm a bit shy when I meet a stranger for the first time, as you might feel this in this interview. When is it difficult for you to talk to others?
it's challenging for me to chat with others when I'm in a bad mood. If, for instance, I lost my keys and I'm having a bad day, I just don't like to socialize with my friends. Also, I'm a bit shy when I meet a stranger for the first time, as you may feel this in the interview.
Much better. Very direct, very clear. Okay. So keep that up. That's what you want to practice. Okay.
Could you assess me like fluency, my coherence, pronunciation, grammar?
Yeah, sure. I can do that. So if we go back to the original answer, okay, then
So my coherence suck there.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Your coherence would have been fairly low there. So your coherence would have been like 5. Your fluency 7. Your vocabulary 6 to 7, 6.5. Grammatical range and accuracy 6 to 7 for sure. Pronunciation 7. So I think with good coherence or with accurate coherence, accurate coherent responses, I should say, I think you can get as high as a band 7. Okay.
Okay.
With some practice. All right. Keep it up, and thank you so much for volunteering.
Thank you too. Have a nice rest of the day.
You too. Have an awesome rest of your day. Javokir. Bye for now.
Thank you.
All right. That was Javokir. So give Javokir a thumbs up. He did a good job, put himself out there and spoke to a stranger for the first time. So he was actually quite brave. All right. That is it for today, students, as we are out of time, but worry not, because we've got lots more live IELTS classes coming up in the week, including more speaking as well that you can see here. Thank you to all of our volunteers for today. That was awesome. A big applause for all of you. That's very brave of you. And I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. Make sure to check us out at aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. It's definitely worth joining our premium IELTS courses there. Okay. Thank you, Carolina, for moderating. Thank you, members, for your support. I will be back tomorrow. I'm Adrian, signing out from beautiful Victoria. Much love to all of you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Bye for now.